And in that instant, when Elijah got his eye off what God was doing and on what Ahab was doing, his ministry ended. He's going to appear on the Mount of Transfiguration in the next testament with Jesus Christ. But the only thing he's going to do after he goes and sits down in the wilderness is find and anoint somebody to be his successor, because it's over on earth for his ministry. That's why Moses said to Aaron, "Rend not your garment lest ye die." You and I do not have the luxury of despair. You and I are going to experience what everybody else does in this world, but we stand in the holy court of a God who is greater than every circumstance, and that God will not receive us into his presence with a garment that is rent. God is greater than every need. Paul was honest about his perils. He owned up to being troubled, perplexed, persecuted, cast down. He lamented his labor, stripes, his prisons, his deaths, his beatings, his stonings, his shipwrecks. He could recount in vivid and bitter detail his journeyings and weariness and painfulness, watchings and hunger and thirst and fastings and cold and nakedness and 8 other perils that he named. But lest you misread his writing, you must remember that he said he was troubled on every side, but he was not distressed. He said, I'm perplexed, but I am not in despair. I am persecuted, but I am not forsaken. I am cast down, but I am not destroyed. I've got my garment intact. I've got my garment intact. I'm not tearing it. I'm not ripping it. He gave thanks to the God that he said causes us. Somebody shout it. Shout always. Come on, shout. Shout always. Causes us always to triumph. Causes us always not to rend our garment. So serious, so specific was this command that the priest not rend his garment, that one passage says there was a hole in the midst of the robe like the hole of a habergeon, which was a coat of mail that a warrior wore. And around that hole there was a band that was woven so as to make certain that the garment did not tear even accidentally. When the priest was putting it on, it was no minor matter, this matter of a priest with a garment that had been torn. It may have been common. It may have been culturally acceptable, but not on his priest and not in his presence. And my brothers and sisters, I'm telling you tonight that ministry is not a career to be chosen. It's a calling to which we have been summoned. Ministry is not something we do. It's who we are. You can't separate the man or woman from their ministry. And that's why it cannot be attempted in our own strength. But we must stand in the power of his might. Will you hear me when I tell you that since you and I met here last year, there are men and women in apostolic ministry who have become disillusioned and discouraged. There are men and women who have gone through divorce. There are others of our ministers who have died by their own hand. I'll tell you why we did what we did today. Lost kids, dread disease, marriages with all the love wrung out, aging parents, wayward children, betrayal by congregational families. We heard wise words today, and heaven help us to heed them, and help us to heed the ones in this book as well. Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is he weary. There is no searching his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that hath not might he increases strength. The youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I wish you'd shout at me. They that wait, Isaiah said, they that wait. It means to wrap yourself around something to gain strength. That's like weaving a piece of string through a strong chain. And so now the string is as strong as the chain. And to break the string, you've got to break the chain. So we wrap ourselves around God to gain strength. So if our adversary is going to break us, there's absolutely nothing that you and I will ever encounter on earth and time in the whole of the human experience that he has not faced, that he has not fought, and that he has not defeated already. When a team of neurosurgeons at the National Institutes of Health told me I had a 50-50 chance being paralyzed at best, and that I could become a non-functioning shell of a man, which maybe tonight you think I am, or ultimately die at worst. I'm not going to tell you I did not ask why, and I did not ask why me. I remember certain days as if they were yesterday. My family would be gone on a Saturday afternoon or something, and I would lay in the floor of the hall in my house and cry in the carpet and ask God what was going to happen. I remember staying in motels on MacArthur Drive in Because of the Times meetings. I remember laying in the room alone before Debbie would come, the drapes drawn and the lights out. And I contemplated calling a cab to take me to the airport to slip out of town and go home, because I was convinced that my presence in this place and on this platform to anybody who knew my plight was a faith killer, and that it would be better if I was not here. Thank God for family who stand with you. Thank God for friends whose words of comfort tie the knot that you hold on to even when they don't know it. Thank God for a God who never fails, to whom I ran when my heart was overwhelmed, and found in him the shelter and covered from the tempest that David did. Come on, preacher friend, listen to me. Don't rend your garment. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. And God is faithful